The story of the Nautilus is one of captivity, escape, and retribution. In her short career, she sank hundreds of ships and damaged thousands of others. Her commander, Captain Nemo, is every bit the dilemma between a freedom fighter and a terrorist. Jules Verne left a lot of open-ended questions, and today we are going to explore some of these, filling in the gaps he left behind. Join me now in part 2 of a handy 4-part series of how I think the Nautilus was built. After escaping Rangor with 20 other men in the Omnia, Nemo set his course for Bombay. In the age before computers and facial recognition, a simple adjustment to the ship's paint job and the dress of her crew was enough to fool most harbor masters. They put ashore a few miles east of the large city, anchoring in a sheltered lagoon. They were free men now, and Nemo was not going to insist any of them stay. 7 departed for lands unknown, while the rest swore undying allegiance to their new captain. Nemo estimated that they had several days at most before the sight of the unmoving anchored ship drew unwanted attention. He had the departing men spread the rumor that the Omnia was in need of repairs and would likely be present in the lagoon for several weeks. This bought additional time. Nemo needed several things for his plan to work. The first was legitimacy, or the appearance of it. Certain officials could be bribed to create false documents that could then be used to pass him and crew off as honest merchantmen. By working as a tramp freighter, Omnia could carry just about any cargo, and if the crew played their cards right, the money earned would go toward Nemo's biggest project: a submarine. He had been working on the plans before the war, and had intended for it to be a vessel of scientific exploration. But now, upon its launch, it would become an instrument of revenge against the British. But first things first, he needed to provide Omnia with a proper crew. While in exile, the British had denied him any access to his fortune. However, they also could not get their hands on it without his consent, which he never gave. Therefore, he had a small window in which to return to the palace in Okta and gather as much of the crown jewels as he could. These would go a long way towards the construction of the submarine and would handsomely pay the crew he hoped to hire. Nemo and 3 others made the journey inland, sneaking into the palace dressed as servants. The move was risky, especially for him. If any of the palace inhabitants recognized him, the game was up, and it was a one-way ticket back to prison, or worse. Thankfully, he was able to retrieve most of the Raja's valuables and successfully sneak them back on board the Omnia. The ship had been anchored for nearly 2 weeks, and time was running short. Sammer had managed to recruit 30 or so hands, which was just enough to man some of the sails. This was essential, as his top lieutenant had been unable to secure any coal, and Omnia was running dangerously low on fuel. The ship set out, still flying the American colors. For the next 18 months, all was well. Omnia was proving herself capable, taking whatever cargo she could lay her hands on and transporting it to its destination in record time. She crisscrossed the globe, going as far as Havana in her efforts. Nemo's strict but gentle command style did wonders in keeping crew, and as word got out about his generous pay, men were eagerly lining the docks at every port for a chance to sail. But Omnia's notoriety was going to come back and bite her. Not in the way Nemo had expected, though. His greatest fear had been the officials, but his ship's money-making ways made them all but blind to the fact that her captain was an escaped fugitive. Rather, it was another group entirely that found interest in Omnia. One which was just beginning to make its presence felt in that most annoying of manners. Whispers began, picked up by Omnia's crew, of a dangerous hunter. A raider set to come down from the Atlantic and snap up whatever ship she could find that bore the stars and stripes. Nemo had kept Omnia's flag to evade prying British eyes, but now it seemed that decision would cost him, and cost him it did. "3 days out of Grenada, it happened. A strange set of sails appeared on the horizon. Nemo, with his widely set eyes, didn't need the telescope to note the truth of her appearance, despite the false flag she flew. He ordered all hands to put on as much sail as Omnia could handle in this strong breeze, and for a time it appeared she might outrun her opponent, but then the breeze died, and her luck turned. By noon the following day, his ship was under the shadow of a large and swift warship. Nemo could have resisted, ordered his men to man the cannons, but Omnia was not designed for a fight, and although he had trained his men well in gunnery, the ship now, imposing before him, was far better at that game. Any attempt to fight would result in wasted lives. He knew that the other captain was merely interested in their cargo, and although it pained him to see his efforts wasted, he could not bring himself to cause pointless casualties. Thus, on the 1st of December, 1862, the sailing vessel Omnia lowered her colors, and Nemo, his talwar in hand, stepped across the brow and surrendered to Captain Raphael Semmes of CSS Alabama.